Greetings and salutations, my lovely loonies. This is Looney Chats with Luuney Lulu, our very first episode. And for our first episode, I am having my very close friend come on. Her name is Alex. I call her Elphie. And she may even potentially be my co host for about every other episode. And if you guys would love to see that, I would love to see that. Go ahead and say something, but it is wonderful to have her on. We will be discussing our childhood and just how we got to meet and everything else in between, some of our loves and passions, and a little bit of just our life as we have gotten older. So go ahead and just sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode.
Okay, after 30 minutes of technical difficulties,
We are finally in effect.
it's your girls back on their bullshit. All right. Yes.
And I think that is probably the best introduction for Looney Chats with Luuney Lulu and everyone,
Yes.
because it just really speaks to just everything about us.
Seriously though,
We're
we
somehow
don't have
tech savvy, but not.
we don't have the best track record, people. You're in for a wild ride. My name is Alex, also known as Elphie. Um, That's my girl Lou, also known as Shin Shin. If you are a fan of the Wicked novel, at me. Thanks. Anyway,
That does bring up one of the topics that I do have, which is the Holy Bible, known as Wicked, that you used to carry religiously in middle school and high
I
school.
I had to buy a new copy of that book because that old one was so beat up. It really was. It
Poor
was so beat up.
things.
And yeah, so we met in middle school when we were at our most awkward. Um, I think Lou can attest to this. We were both hella awkward.
Oh
And I
God,
was
yes.
upset. I was obsessed with Wicked, and then I found out it was a book and became somewhat obsessed with it, even though, fun fact, I did not actually read it all the way through until college.
Yeah, same here. And I honestly had to stop because it was very graphic for for preteens and teenagers. How do you still
Yeah.
feel about coconut oil and blue diamonds
Hmm.
on green?
I am engaged, so not as awkward as I did back in the day when I didn't even have any ounce of any I had
Sexual
an ounce of
knowledge at all?
innocence. Right. I had an ounce of innocence left back then, and now that's gone. So not as bad as it. um,
I'd
so
like
if
to
you don't,
say that I regained innocence in my child. I hope I did. If not, I'm screwed.
hey, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Um, so if you have not read the Wicked novel, it's called Wicked: A Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, and it's by Gregory Maguire. It is a pretty good read. Like legitimately, it's an interesting book. It does get a little bit graphic, but it is a good read. Highly different from the musical. So if you don't know what we're talking about, just kind of look it up because it's a very convoluted plot.
And I promise you, you won't get anything from the synopsis. You actually have to endure that lovely novel. And I do say endure because for certain people, if you are, please don't get mad at me for this combination, but if you're not like someone who can comfortably read 50 Shades of Grey, you are not going to probably comfortably read parts of this book. Only parts, only parts.
Cut this part out, but I think there is a spirit trying to touch my arm right now, and it's really getting on my nerves. Go away, please. Thank you. Sorry, it got
Snail?
really, really cold, and I was like, what the hell? And then I,
Oh no, you're fine. Like I realized that they still touch you. For me, it's only I feel them staring at me. There is literally, and we can honestly keep this in because this is just another part of us. And there are people out there that do understand like the paranormal, but there is like one that is always like hiding inside of my motherfucking bathroom when no one is in there.
And when I am at my mirror, it will just stare at me. I will feel it staring at me. So you are fine.
Yes, I have really been into spirituality lately, people. So, if this is kept in, which I don't want it to be, but if it is, just know that we get a little kooky here. So sorry. Okay, so shall we start with your first point, which, according to this, is before
Yes.
meeting Ma.
Right. Before meeting you, I was just I was more awkward before meeting you than after because I didn't talk to anybody. I remember that I hated that Mrs. Brooks sat me next to you on the bus and just everywhere. It is like, why do I have to? Because I hated being near people I didn't know. I hated it so much. Like, if you ever saw me in the lunchroom, I was off at the very end of the lunch table where no one else sat. I was by myself. Shayna was the first person to come and sit next to me and talk to me. She was the one that got me into chorus, that got me to meet you.
Yes, Shayna, aka my Glenda. Um,
I was trying to remember if she
actually,
was
and
Glenda or not.
yeah, she's my Glenda, still my Glenda, no matter what. But she introduced me in this Looney Loon over here, and at first, to be honest, I was super jelly because like you were cooler than me, and I was like,
How was I cooler? How?
in my mind, in my like what 12, 13-year-old mind, you were. Looking back, I was just scared that you were going to replace me or something. Like, I didn't understand the concept of you could have more than one friend at that time because I had never had friends before. So, but honestly, what's pretty funny is I thought I would keep in touch with Shayna the most, but it's actually you that I have kept in contact with consistently over the past decade and some that we've known each other. Um, so yeah. I did not have I seriously, and this is not a pity party or anything, but people, I did not have any friends before I met this loony bunch. Um, and we all kind of, I think, went through our most awkward stages together, and that was pretty fun.
Yes, we did. And I want to say I sort of had friends, but the main friends I remember having before meeting you guys were two friends, Ethel and Crystal, and I met them when I was in kindergarten in first grade. So like those are like the first and last real friends I remember before meeting you guys. Like there are a few in between, but I can never remember their faces or their names. It's literally you guys. And um there was another pair like Christian and his sister that were in like the fourth, fifth grade for me when I was in Greenbelt, Maryland, which I have moved around a lot. I have been to Greenbelt, Maryland, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. I have been to Washington, D.C. I have been to Richmond, Virginia, as well as Shelby, North Carolina, Gaffney, South Carolina.
That's where my fiance's from, kinda.
Yeah,
Um,
before I just placed myself in Shelby, North Carolina, which is where I met everybody, including you, Shayna, Teresa, Kimberly, and Heather, which all just dropped off.
yes, I do remember Miss Kimber. I loved Kimber. I keep up with Kimber through social media because every now and again she will post and yes, I miss the crew, man. I literally had no friends before y'all and very little friends since. So, which is so funny because we're nearing our 30s, people, to date us, and
I'm
yes,
26, turning 27 this year. You will be 28 this year.
yeah, shut up.
Don't make that face. It is not bad.
Listen, I
Oh,
do
I did
hear
realize something.
what
We are getting into our quarter life crisis.
I've
It
already been
won't
there.
stop until we hit 30.
I don't think I think I went through a midlife or mid quarter life crisis when I was like 20 because I was convinced for many years that I would not make it to 25 for one reason or another. We're not going to get into that. But
Same here.
I was convinced I would not make it to 25, and then I did, and then I made it to 26, 27, and now I'm going to be 28, and then I'm like, shit, well, I guess I'm doing life then.
Yeah, it's like,
so
I made it. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Like, where am I
right,
going from
and
here?
right, and I got laid off of work, so I'm super like, what the fuck am I doing?
Feel the pain. Feel the pain.
Feel the burn, feel the
And you
pain.
miss the insurance. You miss the insurance out of everything because it's just like, man, I could do so much with that. At least that's me in my adult brain. It's like, well, fuck, where did it go?
Yeah,
please come back to me.
I will see movies every now and again that I'm like, oh my God, I love this movie. And they'll say something like, oh, that movie's 25 years old. And I'm like, oh, hurt.
The movie is almost as old as me. My heart.
Pain. Pain, pain, pain. Okay,
Or
so
the fact that our songs are now considered like the past, old school, retro,
right. It's bad when
the early 2000s.
Right. It's bad when a Britney Spears song is on the oldies channel. That's bad. Anyway, or when your siblings are like, who the hell is Britney Spears? And you're like, you don't know that icon. Okay. All right, so back on track. We will do this a lot, guys, so sorry. We met in choir, but we met not in the class. I remember meeting you like on the bleachers in the gym when Shayna introduced us. That's what I remember.
I remember it weirdly differently enough, but I still have random bits and pieces of like my memory that are still all here because one thing y'all will know about me and I will speak more on my podcast is that I am actually chronically depressed. I was depressed a lot, even, as a kid and preteen, teenager. So a lot of my memories are still blacked out, not all there. I can't quite remember them. So what I do remember, I will let y'all know. Everybody else will put in the other pieces for me. Because what I remember is that we were going to all chorus and
Oh, yes,
Miss
yes.
Brooks
Okay.
had sat us next to each other on the bus to there, and I had seen you writing, and I'm like, oh,
Okay.
you write? And that is how I remember us clicking and starting to become friends.
Okay. Yes. Yes, I do.
I was mad that I
think
didn't
I
get to
do.
sit next to Shayna.
Right. So that's not how we met, but that's how we connected because you did say something
That is the
about my
biggest point I
writing.
remember.
I was always nose deep in a notebook, but I never was writing anything substantial. I have had the same type of story idea since I was like 10, and I'm still trying to figure out how to write that damn story. But yeah, now that you're saying that, I do remember that. And speaking of all state chorus or whatever the hell that was, do you remember that? You remember going to it like years later? We weren't at the same school anymore. So I switched schools when I was in ninth grade, freshman year. My family knew they were
Which
moving.
broke my heart.
It broke my heart too, girl. I was like, if I could have taken y'all with me, it would have been just perfect. But yeah, we went to the
I would
same
not have
little.
fit in at a mostly black school, though. I would not have fit in. I would
You
have
think
been.
I did? You think I fit in? Like, look at me. Like, my dad used to say I would be a speck of salt in a sea of pepper, which I was
Yeah, and I
like,
was always the fly in the sea of buttermilk.
right. So if you're from Shelby, you probably can guess the two schools that we're talking about. Maybe. But
I
yes,
was
my
a charger.
family,
She was a lion.
we'll just put it like that. So I my family knew we were moving and they were like, you have a choice. You can stay at Crest or you can go to Shelby. And because Shelby was so much closer to my family's house, I chose Shelby. And I did enjoy my time there, but I missed everybody. And that's when everyone started kind of going their separate ways. And we didn't really connect as much after that. And it made me sad.
Yeah, me and Shayna had gotten a lot closer, and we were only friends during high school and part of college. College is when I broke away from Shayna because she always wanted to stay inside in the library. And I actually wanted to branch out and meet new people. So I would start going outside. And that was also because I had a crush on somebody that was in my public speaking class. And he would always go outside. So I would follow him.
Lord, Miss Thirsty over
Leave
here.
me be. I was 17, 18 years old. Cut me some slack.
Hey, don't feel bad. Luckily I'm still with my, college crush, but when my fiance and I met, I was like, damn, he's really fine. He's got to be an athlete. And he didn't play a sport. He did insanity or something like that. And he came up and sat next to
Mm.
me and I was like, you're kind of cute. So I have been dating him since I was 18, which is a miracle because, people change a lot between
I
now and
forget
almost 30.
y'all really have been together for like a decade now.
I
Oh,
know
holy shit.
when we get married, it will be one day shy of our ninth anniversary together. Cray, cray. We're so
Oh, that
old.
is.
I love him to death, though.
You're not
He's,
old. You cannot say you're old. I am only a year younger than you. I refuse. I refuse.
well,
I absolutely
it,
refuse.
it's okay. It's
And I
okay
have a kid,
because,
so I definitely refuse.
hey, it's okay. I mean, you got a kid on me. I don't have a kid, so it's okay.
Well, you
Nor will
technically
I
do have
ever.
your baby. You
Well,
technically do have your baby. He's a fur baby, but you have your baby.
yes, she's over there sleeping and kind of trying to figure out why I'm talking to myself because she can't hear you. Um,
She's like,
but
why are you
yes,
staring in the distance and talking?
oh, she's out cold. She's over there twitching like dogs do in their sleep. But yes, I have a fur
Aw.
baby. She's going to be 2 in, they think, January. That's her estimated birthday since she was a rescue. She was surrendered. Um, and she was my sister's dog. So, she was like, hey, we can't take care of her. And I was like, bet, she's mine. Yes.
I will happily take the fur baby. Give me the fur baby.
Okay, we
So,
are we are getting way off track, man.
yeah. So I want to go and talk about our weird quirks because I
Lord, do we
remember
have
how
an
I used to
hour?
always.
Do we have an hour for that? Because I want you to just go ahead. I'll shut up and listen for a little bit because this is gonna be good, people.
Because one of our weird quirks, or at least one of mine, was the fact that I always wanted to change my name. And Irisha or Ayana, no, that was never my name. And yes, those are my legals. But I remember for a while I was Valentine and forced people to call me that to the point to where people made the joke that I had a twin because Valentine Manning, which my grandmother is still so pissed off at, by the way, to this day. She looked through the book and went, who the fuck is Valentine?
She even has she even made her retake her yearbook photo one time, guys, and there are 2 pictures of her. One is her legal name, and the other is Valentine. And I laughed
Right.
from the moment I
That
saw
was
it. I
my
laughed
eighth grade
so
teacher.
hard. I laughed so hard at that because it literally looks like she has a twin, and I
That was
I
my
tease her
eighth
about
grade
that
year.
too.
I remember.
Yes, it was hilarious.
What's so funny is I can't remember any of the other names besides Valentine. Oh,
I don't think there was any others.
Aphrodite in high school in the 12th grade, but that was because I was doing Greek mythology and I like the name Aphrodite. But I do remember that that was another one. But also one other thing about me, you will know about me is that I do go through therapy, and me and my therapist were talking about that, and I am non-binary and pansexual for those out there, but we did figure out that my non-binary and figuring that out was the fact of my different name changes, and I just didn't feel like anything fit. So technically for me, Nyrisha is my dead name and Luna is the name that I have now chosen, which is why I am Luuney Lulu.
Which I love because I love calling her Loon or Looney. So I love it. I
It
do the
fits me
same thing.
very well.
I do the same thing, not with me because I personally have always liked my name. It's fine. It's normal. Alex is normal. But I do the same thing with my characters. Like I said, I have had the same story for years and years and years since I was like 10 years old that I want to write, and I always change the protagonist's name. I can't even tell you how many names this protagonist has had. Right now, it is like the quirky girl has a boy's name type thing. So right now her name is Tobias. We're gonna call her Toby, which I thought was kind of cool, but it may change. It's subject to change because it has changed for the past
I mean,
decade and a half.
hey, at least you didn't go with the cliche Dylan.
Yeah.
Or Tony.
Yeah, I don't mind those names though, because like my name was always like boyish, I guess, unless you use my full name, which that's my government name. We don't use that name.
Yes, we never speak of the government. We only call her Alex Elphie. That is the only two. If you go beyond that, she will kill you.
and
She's given me the look many
right,
a time. Oh, by the way,
right.
McCavity.
Damn it. Okay, so we
Yes.
will come back to that when we get to that, people. So my weird quirks was definitely hyperfixations on basically Wicked. And I very much hyperfixated on that in middle school, I think.
You did steal my
And
innocence with that book, by the way.
you're welcome. Anyway, so I very much hyperfixated on that, and I still have hyperfixations. You know, I don't want to self-diagnose myself because I have not, been to a doctor to get this diagnosis, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. Um, and
Same here,
that
undiagnosed as well.
Right. So, like I said, not self-diagnosing, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So my hyperfixations kind of come and go. Wicked is still like I love Wicked, guys. Like Wicked is still my jam. I went to go see it with my dad, and it was fine, but it's not my favorite musical anymore. Like I think I ran it into the ground so much as a middle schooler that now I've listened to the soundtrack and I'm like, except Defy Gravity. That will always be my jam. But so that's kind of was my quirk.
I was about to say, if you don't like Defying Gravity anymore, we have issues. Because you sang that all the time with so much heart. I swear to God, if that wasn't your favorite one anymore, I would cry. I would cry for the song itself.
No, but that is still playing at my funeral. Just saying. That is still playing at my funeral.
I do not mind. I will cry my eyes out, and I will probably die at your funeral because you will be 100 and I will be 99.
Damn straight. There is no other plan. My other quirks were definitely that I had probably undiagnosed ADHD, so I was all over the place. Still am, as you can tell. And I know that if I had not found my merry band of misfits like I did back in middle school, I think I would be in a whole lot different place right now because you guys, you, Kimber, and Teresa, you guys were my homies that accepted me for who I was. And, so that helped me a lot when I didn't have you guys. So I'm like, well, at least there's my merry band of misfits that still love me, even if we don't talk.
Yeah, we accepted both you and your twin.
Okay, remind me of this because I too have a horrible memory when it comes to some things.
Because you do mention her every now and again, but you had pretended that you were your British twin and that I think you said your
See,
name was like Emil or Amelia or something. And you said that you two had exchanged places for a little bit and that you would be walking around in her place and taking her classes for her. And I think for a minute, I didn't even believe that you were just fucking with me. I just was gullible enough and believable enough back then I was just like, oh, okay, sure. It just rolled
See,
with it.
okay, you're not the first person to mention this, and I don't remember that at all. Like, I don't remember that at all. I did weird things like that growing up, guys. Like I said, I was very quirky. I used to do the same thing in like elementary school where I'd pretend to like switch to a different person. But I knew like it wasn't a dissociated thing. It wasn't like I was a different person. I knew what I was doing. It was just to kind of have fun. I don't know.
Is
It's
another
weird.
thing that speaks to like your ADHD because we just love the fuckery.
Yeah.
Because I know that there would be shit that I would do just
Oh, you know
because,
what?
and I had no other reason than just because.
Just because. And now I remember because it was to see if I could actually trick you specifically.
You got me.
And I thought that you were just playing along with me until you said that just now. So, yay, mission accomplished.
No. Yeah, you got me. You got me bad with that. I did not believe that you, that you weren't you. I believe that you had a twin, Amelia, and that Elfie was off in the UK somewhere living it up for a little bit. Like my Parent Trap brain kicked in
Right.
so hardcore.
I was about to say, I think my inspiration for that was Parent Trap because I'm like, if Lindsay Lohan can do it and go cray cray, then I can do it. I don't know, guys,
And still be
seriously.
sane.
Seriously, it's a miracle that I made it into adulthood relatively normal. Relatively normal. I still have my quirks, but
And that sort of segues into how we are now. We did talk a little bit about the non-binary of me and you, how you have had your wicked burnout. And I guess we can
yes.
sort of talk about like the discovery of ourselves because,
Mhm.
I'm pansexual. Would you like to talk about what you are of the community?
Sure. So, like, um, I think Lou can attest to this, especially back in middle school, but I had crushes on both men or boys and girls. And it didn't occur to me until college. I was like 22, and somebody in one of my classes goes, I'm bi, I'm bisexual. And I was like, wait a minute, that's a thing. And so I started doing research, and I'm like, wow, so much of my middle school, high school experience makes sense because I remember having a crush on this girl, and in middle school and the first part of high school. And I didn't know that that was a thing. It was kind of one of those things I didn't tell a lot of people because I didn't know what it was, but also like I kept saying, well, I'm not gay, but
Yeah,
I'm not
you know
gay.
you're
I
not a
knew,
lesbian, so you
right.
can't say that.
Right. I knew I liked boys. So it wasn't a thing of like, oh, well, I might be a lesbian. No, it was more of like, I was so confused and I didn't know bisexuality was a thing until college. So that was kind
And
of the
that's the thing,
first,
because yeah, and that's the thing, because no one really tells you or goes much into like the LGBTQ community. So you can't
especially,
really
yeah.
figure out what or who you might be. Because for the longest time, I thought I was bisexual myself until realizing that pansexuality was a thing and went,
Hmm.
wait, there's more. And I had to do so much research on just pansexuality, poly, and all of that to figure out where I was placed until I finally went, oh, I'm pansexual. Just like figuring out that I don't feel male, I don't feel female, I just feel me. I am
Hmm.
me 100% of the time. I like to dress like a boy sometimes. I like to dress like a girl sometimes. I just like to dress like nothing sometimes and just wear the comfiest, most androgynous, gender neutral bullshit you could ever think of. And it's just like, oh, I am non-binary. Cool.
I'm here for that, my friend. Okay, so another thing that I have been on a discovery journey for the past year and some is, of course, ADHD. Now, when I was younger, they did talk about like I remember they did talk about possibly autism. However, I always met my marks. I always was talking right when you were supposed to talk, walking right when you're supposed to walk, I didn't have some of the sensory issues that somebody with autism would have. So all my life, I was like, there's something odd with me. Like I always felt like an alien in the midst of like humans, So, but joining TikTok last year, and this is going to be so cliche for us millennials because a lot of millennials did join TikTok last year during the shutdown. But
we had
joining
nothing better to do. We were sad and lonely and needed company.
TikTok is so great though. If you're on the right side of TikTok, you got to be on the non-cliche slash,
Or
gay
you got to
TikTok.
make sure you avoid kink talk. Avoid kink talk if you can.
I have not seen that, but that's I will avoid. But people
Avoid.
started, but on TikTok, I kept seeing people talk about, hey, these are some ADHD symptoms in women that you might not know about, and I was like, I relate to that too much, like especially,
Mhm.
and two, ADHD mimics, autism, Asperger's in very specific ways.
Oh
So
yeah.
I was like, that's probably what it is, why I'm so forgetful. I mean, to a fault, I'm forgetful. Like there's some things where people are like, you do this every day, why don't you remember to do it? And I'm like, well, I don't. My brain is, I start
Mm.
focusing on something. The hyperfixations are another thing. I watch the same shows over and over and over and over and over again. And I watch the
That is me.
same musicals over and over and over and over again. I have tried to branch out in recent years, but yes. And all these hobbies
Yeah,
that I used to have and pick up. I mean, so that's kind of
you kind of
where
have to feel like you need to force yourself to do something new, don't you?
sometimes it's just,
Yeah.
like for instance with musicals, sometimes it's a matter of just seeing them at the Tony Awards or on TV and being like, I liked that
That's
song.
cool.
And then I become obsessed. I'm going to see Town on Saturday because I'm obsessed with that show. And I think you would like it. It's very jazzy. It's the retelling of the legend of Orpheus and Eurydice.
I would
It's
love that.
fabuloso.
I already love it. I already love it. I
Right.
am
But it's
also a person
very,
that loves William Shakespeare and loves like the Taming of the Shrew and the Tempest and all those wonderful ones. Like I fixate on
oh,
random other mine is more, hey, those are ones I like, okay? You don't have to like them, but I love them.
no, but okay. So I got into a discussion with somebody on TikTok of how problematic um, Taming of the Shrew is, and it is problematic, but it's so damn funny. It is so
I mean,
funny. I love
it's
Taming of the
it
Shrew.
is okay, it is very problematic. But like you said, it is, and you also do have to remember this is this is like old English time. So of course it's going to be extremely problematic for what is now new day and age. The one that I
Yeah,
do
I'm
love a
like,
little bit better for this day and age is sort of like Twelfth Night, Midsummer's Night's Dream.
love Midsummer's Night Dream. I love that one. I was in that in college. Well, okay, not in it, but I helped a lot with the costumes. That
Hey,
was
that still is good. That you were still a part. That is still a part.
it was
Do not
heartbreaking.
die yourself.
I auditioned for that show not once but twice, and they were like, "No, thank you." Yeah, UNC Charlotte was very much more harsh to me than Gardner
Yeah.
when it came to theater. But yes, going back to the Discovery, that's kind of where I'm at as an almost 30-year-old woman who um, apparently learns things way too late.
Which I did actually start listening to certain podcasts about ADHD and autism as well because one thing I figured out also by TikTok and just feeling it myself is that undiagnosed I'm also potentially autistic as well as having ADHD. And one thing I did realize about that is, and I listened to a lot of podcasts about it, is that you can have multiple diagnoses along with having ADHD. Because, like, I still have a mood disorder, but I still feel like I do have the ADHD because I still have my hyperfixations. I still have what I love. and I still have like the random, oh, I want to do this, but I want to do that, but I want to do this, but I want to do that, but I want
Hmm.
to go here, but I
Oh
want to go
yeah.
there.
It's a struggle sometimes because sometimes, and I'll tell my fiance this, sometimes I know I have to do something or I want to do something, but physically I just kind of can't unless I want to do it. Like I really want to do it.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. And you're so frustrated with yourself because the simplest thing is sitting right there. All you have to do is just get up and do it. But you want to do this extra complicated thing over here because it's what you want to do and you think it'll come out awesome.
right. It's
Because like
crazy.
there'll be dishes piled up in the sink. There will be laundry needing to be folded. But I will sit my black butt down and play Minecraft and work on a podcast or record a video or edit my videos. I will do everything amongst the sun before I do the two things that need to get done in my home.
Same. I will watch the whole entire seasons of Bob's Burgers before I do any cleaning.
For
Cleaning.
me, it's for me, it's BoJack Horseman. I will sit there and I will binge 3 seasons at once. I'm only on like
Ugh.
season 3, season 4, so no spoilers.
No, but I love BoJack. I need to rewatch it. That's a show that, and you probably have seen and will see. That's a show that I very much have to be careful with because it is a depressing show at times,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's good.
The,
Um,
the one scene that gets me the most is when BoJack is there and he goes to his ghostwriter girl. I can't remember her name, but he goes to her while she's at this convention and sitting up there, and he asks the question of, "Do you think I'm a good person? Like, please, I need someone to tell me I'm a good person. Like, do you like me? Am I good? Am I a decent person?" And she's just silent. She can't say anything. And that's where it ends. That's where the episode ends. And I'm just like, oh God. After that, I was just like, okay, I can't watch this for a minute. I can't.
yes, it's very much one of those shows that I'm the type of person that needs a show that's kind of light and funny, and kind of
That's my
mindless.
Family Guy or
Yes,
American Dad.
I used to love Family Guy. I just haven't watched any of the newer seasons, but I used to play the first like 5 seasons on a loop, just looping it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, it's my absolute trash. Family Guy is my
yes,
trash.
yes. And Bob's Burgers I actually discovered because of Family Guy, and then 2 years, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? I've never watched The Simpsons, so now I love The Simpsons. I got into
That
it like
still
30 years.
surprises me that you still haven't watched The Simpsons. The Simpsons is about as old, a little bit older than you, honey.
No, I have seen every episode, and I love pretty much every episode. Bob's
Yep.
Burgers is like my safer choice though because I like their family dynamic better. I think with shows like Family Guy and even Simpsons, it tends to be a very mean family dynamic.
Nickel type of dynamic.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't vibe with that. I don't vibe with that. And
I love the harshness though. It reminds me, okay, depressing thought, but it reminds me too much of my family.
I just in case my family does watch this, we're not like that, but kind of same.
It's like I love you and I will uplift you in times where I kind of care about it, but every now and again I'm just gonna kick you and then rub my heel in your face. At least that's
Oh
how
my
I feel
goodness.
whenever I watch American Dad, and it makes me laugh so much. But I know my family is really not like that because I know they will listen to this because they love me and they support me. They just want me to do better. I love you.
Yes.
Please know this is a joke. It is a joke.
Yes. And if you remember, I've had to kick your ass a few times too. So, as your
You
somewhat
have
older
chewed my
sister.
ass. You have chewed my ass out quite a few times because, hey, looking back, I know I've done some very, very stupid shit. Okay,
No
I have
shit.
been very stupid. Hey,
Love you. I love you,
love you
but you
too.
have
I
done
think she's
some
looking at me because of, ex-boyfriends that I have had in the past that haven't been very wise or good, and just decisions I have made along the way that weren't
child.
very wise or
That could be an hour and a half episode in all of its own, my friend. My friend. So yeah. But
there've been at least three before the one that I have now who I've had a son with, and we're happy. Oh,
Yes, we.
this is one thing. Curtis and I are actually going to be moving out. Like he's moving out, but we're still together. But we just know that we need a little time apart to actually become healthy again. So it's not like we're breaking up. It's just we realize we're too complacent and it's becoming toxic, and we need to actually refine ourselves again.
Hey, that's fine. And for the record, I do like Curtis. At least better than your track record, my friend.
Hey, he is sweet and lovable, and he has been patient with me for the past 5 years in my insanity
I
before I
know.
finally got on medication. So this man is a trooper and deserves a fucking Purple Heart and a gold goddamn medal.
I will make him a trophy myself and be like, thank you for taking care of my sister and thank you for caring for her because I had to kick her ass so many times that I am glad that she has somebody that is actually a decent human.
And so patient with me. So very, very
Yes.
patient.
My
And for
mine
those of you
has been.
curious, she is my sister from another mister. We are not related
Oh yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the
We're
slightest.
not actually related. I mean, we look just alike,
You would
but
not be able to tell the difference.
we're laughing because she has dark skin and I have like pale skin, so that's why we're laughing because we
Yeah,
look
like
nothing
I
alike.
am like I am like a coffee with some extra cream, and she looks like she's slight. It looks like she can beat a ghost in a tanning contest. I said beat him. You were more tan than a ghost.
I was making a face at her, that's why she said that. So yes, we have known each other and we're going to talk about this more, but we have known each other for so long and you know going to the did I ever think that we would be the ones that remained consistently in touch with each other? No. Because honestly, and this is just being real, honestly, there were times that I did not know if we would stay in touch or be friends because there was just a time where, and I want to be nice because I know you've kind of
It's
settled down,
okay.
but
You
you went
can
wild.
just
You went a
yeah,
little
I did.
wild. And,
I did.
it became, I'm like, at one point I was like, I can't worry about Lou. At the time, your name was not Luna, but I said, I can't worry about Lou anymore. And, but everything turned out just fine. And you
I got
turned
myself
out
settled in.
just, yes. Am I sharing my screen? Hold on.
Yes, you're no, you're not sharing your screen at all. Like it's just me and you on here, nothing else.
It did
But
something. Uh,
like we're still recording. Here, don't worry, we'll make sure this is
okay,
normal.
there we go. That's fine. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, yeah, you
Okay.
can cut that out. Um,
Right.
but yes, you went a little wild, and I was like, I don't know if we would be able to keep in touch just because of choices and how far away you were and all this kind of stuff. But we have I have always come back, and I have always said, "How
You
is my sister?"
Yep. And anytime that I would get those messages, it always would make my day because it would normally sometimes be in a really rough point just for me. And she is sugarcoating it, but I'll just be honest and flat out. I dipped from North Carolina a little bit after my great grandfather had passed away. And it was only a year after my father had passed away. And so it was just a really difficult time and I just could not handle it at all. And that was when my wild streak and I guess, the mood disorder, the ADHD, just everything sort of kicked in. And it was just like, I need to change of pace. I need to leave. And so I left to St. Joseph, Missouri and got into a lot of hell just down there dealing with everything because I just decided, oh, I am just going to do whatever I can to be by myself. And that was the dumbest decision I had ever made. And when I finally decided to ask for help, I moved here to Texas and my family helped me out. I did try to go back to North Carolina, but that didn't work out well. Had a friend who was an ex friend now do some pretty messed up stuff to me, and we could get into that a lot later. But we ended up reconciling a tiny bit afterward, but it took like a couple years before I even wanted to speak to him. But I came back to Texas, and ever since I've been fighting to actually get my shit together and
Hmm.
not be as much of the wild child that I was for like my early motherfucking 20s. Like my early
Yes.
motherfucking 20s were so stupid. Like I
And I
will
and
say
I
that
told
now.
her
It
that.
was so
And I told her that on multiple occasions. And actually, I told her that when she got pregnant. But I will say that she has been doing her absolute best with that little Georgie Porgy. And I love
yes,
him. And he's so
he is my
cute. He
precious.
looks just like his daddy. He looks
He
just like his
does.
daddy. And
He
but he
does
also
so
has your
adorable.
features. Like, I really think he has
He,
your skin tone.
yeah, especially from when I was a baby, and he has my cheekbones and my dimples.
He is adorable, y'all. So I will say that,
Yes, the precious baby.
I wasn't happy at first that she got pregnant, but Curtis is a great guy. I'm glad that it was with
Yes,
Curtis, and I'm glad that,
he's a wonderful dad.
yes, and I'm glad that George is there to kind of help her get her shit together. So that's where I'm coming from, and y'all, I didn't like being the naggy big sister, quote unquote, to her, but sometimes I'd be like, "You're doing what? You're doing what? No, 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 no. You're
Hey,
no. We're
the pregnancy was a huge surprise, but we have been able to, push forward and do our best with
hmm
George. And especially with realizing that he might be on the spectrum, either with ADHD or autism, has been another leap and jump to, figure out a way to get him assessed, and also free or for cheap, because doing those things is really expensive. Like the cheapest I found was about $80 per assessment, and you have to go back about 3 to 5 times for an hour to an hour and a half. So like, yeah, it's not cheap at all, because that's still 240 to like $400 on the cheapest end to just get it done.
yeah. Well,
And if you don't have that to spare, then it is hell.
yeah. We could spend all day going over the healthcare in America, guys.
Oh,
But
we could rant and rave about that forever.
I think in my podcast that I'm going to start because Luna's doing it, and now I'm interested. Um, she knows she knows full well that's why I'm doing it too, because now I'm
Yeah.
like, this is cool. Anyway, that's what that was the
Podcasts are fun, all right?
epitome. That was the epitome of our middle school years, though. Lou was
Oh
doing
yeah.
it, and I was like, I think Lou single-handedly got me out of my cheetah girl space
I did? How? How did I get you out of that?
because you would dress certain ways, and I was like, I can dress a little more normal, I guess. And because I used to love the Cheetah Girls. It came out in 2003, and I loved it that was one of my hyperfixations when I was little. And I used to love to wear leopard spots. And yes, I'm saying leopard and not cheetah because usually it's leopard. Um, but I absolutely love that. And once I got to middle school, I just saw, I guess, different fashion, and I was like, gee, might want to conform a little bit to society.
Hey, my conformity was not my own doing. It was because my grandmother wanted to dress me up like a little Barbie doll, a black Barbie. Because you saw, like, for a while, I had the Jerry curl in my head, and I was so happy when that was gone.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. When my hair was wet all the time and I left spots everywhere. Oh my God. I don't get how that was ever a thing. Holy crap, that always
Oh
irritated me.
yes.
And my
I
hair
I still I
soaked up
still have
moisture. So
I
I had
still
to have so much.
I'm sorry to keep it around. I still have the picture of me, you, and Shayna at some, I think it was the eighth grade awards show, awards something,
Oh,
and the dress
ceremony.
you're wearing is so not you. It's just not you.
I
And
was trying to get dolled up because I knew I would be singing.
were we
Yeah, at
singing?
the Oh no, no, that was It was the ninth grade awards show, because I remember Miss Sharp had wanted me to sing and
Oh
come up with an
yeah.
original song.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
do remember this. Oh God. We both were so awkward. Speaking of singing, I was convinced, and low-key still am, convinced that I'm gonna be on Broadway. And
I am too. I am
so
convinced you will one
I
day be on Broadway. I am not giving up on that dream for either one of us. I am
I
not. I refuse.
my ears have given up for the both of us. If those out there that don't know me, I am mostly deaf. So I do have a cochlear device now, and I have retired from singing. But back when I was, especially middle school, high school, and early college, I was obnoxious with this. Okay. I was one of those high soprano, hoity toity, I am better than anybody in this room. And I never could understand why nobody liked my singing, and it's because I was obnoxious with it. In fact, in fifth grade, I was set to play Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, dream role for me at the time, of course. And I kept, when the girls would audition for Dorothy, I would like wave my hand like, they're not good, and I just kept doing that. I was like, yeah, yeah. And the choir director saw me, and she took me aside and she's like, "You're lucky I'm letting you be in this at all. You're going to be a munchkin." And I was like, "A munchkin? Why? I was the best singer in there." And she goes, "That's the attitude that's making me not cast you as Dorothy, because if you were humble and nice, then yes, you do have the best voice in here. But because you were a little, in so many words, she said
Right.
little bitch, you are not, you're going to be a munchkin." So that was a very humbling experience for me. Another humbling experience was in college, when I literally could not hold a candle to most people in there. So yeah.
It's nothing like when you leave your small pond and you're finally just a normal fish in a normal lake,
Oh
just
Lord,
swimming around.
that hit me so hard, because I was in one of those like gifted programs and everything, and the ADHD gifted child burnout is so real, but y'all, I was in for a rude awakening in the real world. Nobody gave a shit if I could sing. I did not get any parts in any shows except ensemble. And then I went deaf. So yeah, that's the gist of it there.
Well, I still feel that you would still be able to be on Broadway, because I mean, you do have a device that does help you to be able to hear and sing. So there's nothing really still stopping you besides you.
Yeah, and besides the fact that it was my choice to retire. Like I'll
That is fair.
sing privately, but and I think I am gonna do one last like song to like, hey guys, probably not gonna see this again. Enjoy. But I don't
You
know.
know, you could literally create a TikTok of you just singing musicals and Broadway stuff, and people would follow you, and that's all you would ever have to do.
I might
So
try
you could
that.
still technically do what you want and have it be peaceful and quiet and not be like on a huge stage and all that and in your home. But every now and again you could just get gussied up and sing a song and then go back to normal day in life.
See, I might try that, because that does sound like fun. I have one that I've been dying to sing from. For some reason, I got into Legally Blonde, the musical, after seeing it on TikTok, and it
Really?
it is amazing. Like, it is a feel good, cheesy, good time. I love it. And there's a
Okay.
song in there called Ireland that, have you ever seen Legally Blonde?
Yes, I have. So I'm
Okay,
just like,
so
where does this song come in?
Paulette, the kind of awkward
Mhm.
lady that's a hairdresser, she has a
Yes.
song in the show called Ireland. It is
Hmm.
a bop. I highly recommend anybody that has not seen Legally Blonde, go check it out. It is like, it's not, I didn't think it was my style, but watching it is such a feel good time. And
Okay.
oh my God, it's great. I might send you the link to
Yes, please do. Please
the
do. Send me the link.
MTV. Yeah, they filmed it. It was one of the first Broadway shows to have like a pro shot, and they filmed it live on MTV.
Oh, wow. That is
It was
impressive.
it was so cool. It was now the quality, obviously, this was like the early 2000s, so the quality of it is like
Mm.
not good. But if you looked it up, anybody out there that's interested, it's pretty good. It's not that bad. The sound's good. So, but anyway, that's one of my musicals that I've been kind of listening to lately.
All right. And that actually is a nice segue because the McCavity that I so clearly got her with earlier goes into our other love, the musical Cats. We got to go and see it, and it was my first time ever seeing it, and it was so much fun for me. My favorite one is still Rum Tum Tugger.
Tugger is a curious cat.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah, so my
But McCavity,
grandparents. Oh, go ahead.
but before we talk about that and the sadness that is with it, but McCavity is just one of the cats that comes in and steals away one of the others. And his music and his name would just be screamed at the most random of times.
The most random.
You could be
Like
having a
even
heartfelt moment, and then all of a sudden, McCavity,
the
and then he'd
cavity.
come in.
Yeah. So that's the game we've played for like since we've
A
seen that
decade
show.
now.
We try to say the name the cavity at the most random times. It's kind of a game. Anyone that knows cats probably knows what we're talking about. But yes, my grandparents surprised us, or me rather, with tickets to go see Cats, and it was my nan's birthday, I think. So my Poppy was going to take her to a restaurant, and she was like, "Why don't you invite a friend to go see the show with you?" And I was like, "Hell
And I got
yeah,
invited.
Lou, let's roll." And
And I was like, yeah, you bet your sweet ass I'd be happy to go.
it was so fun though because the opening number especially, it's very interactive, which I was surprised at. The cats came up and talked to us and like rubbed against us, and not in a weird way. That sounds so weird, but they were in character and they would talk, and we'd see one of the cats talking to like the ushers or whatever in character. And the lighting and the dancing, it's a fun show. Now, people will complain and say it has no plot, and it kind of doesn't, but it's basically Cat's Got Talent. Okay. It's basically the leader is going to choose somebody to go to heaven, and and every cat is making a case why they should go to heaven. And
Isn't it
McCavity is
called like
their
being a Jellicle cat?
Jellicle cat. Yeah.
Jellicle, yeah, the Jellicle cat.
Cause Jellicles to Angelicals can. I forget the words to that song. I never get the words to any of those songs except memory right, and sometimes I get memory wrong too. But yes, it's a great show. It's very fun, especially if you see it live. It's like I said, very interactive. But it was my first time seeing it too, and I was not expecting us to have as much fun as we did because,
Oh,
Cats is like one of the most controversial shows in the theater community. Some people hate it, some people love it. I'm one of those people that love it, but
I adore it. And I still want to see it around my birthday because it is coming close by around my birthday. And I want you here to watch it with me. I know it's like a month and a half away, but girl, we can do it. We got this.
let me get a job first.
Let's ball
But
let's get a
yes,
job. But we got this. We can do it. Cats. Cats.
maybe I'll tell my mom that that's what I want for my birthday is to come stay with you
I
and we
can
go see Cats.
I can tell my family, hey, give us VIP tickets to Cats. That's all I want for my birthday is two VIP tickets to Cats.
In the aisle, like we did the first
So we
time,
so
in
we
the
can
aisle
be
so we
near
can
Rum
pet the
Tum.
cats.
Yes.
Oh gosh. And
I
like
want
I
to be
said,
front stage.
like I said, I'm seeing Hadestown, and I am excited because I have front row seat, not front row orchestra, but front row balcony seats. So,
Ooh,
and when I went to go see Wicked, I had probably the best seats I've ever had. It was you could see it was close enough to see the actors like expression, but not close enough to see their sweat.
oh shit.
Like it was a good show and a good seat. My dad is MVP for that move. But yes, that's kind of what I want for my birthday now. Anyway, shall we
Yeah.
segue into what happened literally that next day?
If we must,
If you
after
want.
having after like having such an amazing day and then seeing Avatar, the Blue People Avatar, the movie, when we got back to your grandparents' lake house and just enjoying the entire evening, I
Mhm.
woke up to a call from my father's lifelong friend letting me know that he had passed away.
Mhm.
And it was really heartbreaking. And that's what I meant,
Yeah.
or just to put it lightly, because I had only really known him for about a year and a half, and we had finally gotten to reconnect and really get to know each other. And I realized that I was sort of like my dad, and we had a lot of traits that I didn't realize that we had connected on and were able to, because we both love to write and write letters. We were literally snail mailing each other
Oh.
and sending each other letters and shit. And I have to like ask my grandma back for those because I did leave them at my childhood home with her because I didn't want to lose them. And I remember
Mhm.
that he used to write me letters, and everybody could attest to it that he wrote me letters when I was a little girl, when I still lived in Pennsylvania with my grandparents. And sadly, those burned up in the fire when my grandparents' house went up in flames. So those are no more. But the ones of me being an adult, or at least a teenager, I still have those. So that makes me really
Mhm.
happy.
Yeah,
But
it
I
was
do
it
miss him.
was it was really heartbreaking, and my nan, God bless her, was so good to you, and I'll
She was
never
so
forget
sweet.
that. My nan passed away about 4 years ago, almost five, I think, 2017. So yeah, almost five, I think.
Yeah,
And when I say she treated every single person that she came across as family, that's what I mean.
that's no joke.
She was amazing to Lou here, and I was shell shocked. I was like, I had never seen anything like that before. So I just tried to be there for you. I was like, I don't know what the shit to do, but like, you're my friend. On a lighter note, I was like, you're my friend,
Yeah.
and I'm so sorry, but I have never dealt with this before. So there. So it's just like pat pat.
Yeah, I remember you did kind of like try to pat me on the head and give me a hug and everything, just doing your best to try and console me in that
I
time,
tried.
because that's just hard. Like after
Yeah,
having like the best day of thinking you're just gonna wake up and goof off and have breakfast and just chill for a little bit before the other has to go home, you get that call and then just gotta
yeah. It
wait.
was such a strange thing,
It was
and
just
that's
an
why.
odd weekend.
It was, and that's why
Put it
we say
lightly.
that's very bittersweet because it was great seeing cats and seeing each other and spending the night at my nan's lake house and everything, Nan and Poppy's lake house, and
Mhm.
yeah. So with that comes that memory, though. So
Yeah. So
on a lighter note, I'm
bittersweet
sorry
all
I'm
the time.
laughing. This is an awkward laugh, people. I still don't know how to
Yeah.
deal with that kind of laugh. And honestly, I can kind of relate, even though I was home when my nan passed. It's never easy to deal with that. And
Oh yeah, no.
I think especially from an outsider's perspective, like I had some friends that were just like, "Oh, you were close with your nan." I was like, "Thanks, yes, I was. Thank you."
Like that is the very minimalistic way of putting it. But yeah, instead of just being like, I'm so sorry you lost someone so close to you, or I my condolences on losing a part of your life. No, it's just, oh, you guys must have been really close. I'm so sorry.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you as I'm sobbing. I'm not really crying, but yeah, thank you as I'm sitting here sobbing. Um, so on a lighter note, I see here that you put the prom. Shall
Proms.
we?
Because
Shall
of okay, see, this is what we do. We accidentally interrupt one another because we're so eager to talk about something. But we shall, I guess, get into the proms because I remember my junior prom, but you really weren't
sorry.
there. But the senior prom is the one where shit got kind of wild.
Uh, yeah. Was that okay? So the people that we went to prom with might see this, so I'm going to do this as delicately as I possibly can because the person I went to prom with, I wish him no ill will.
He was a
Um,
sweetheart.
a-
He was okay.
and I don't even think he'll see this because I think he's blocked me for many a years on any social media. But
Hmm.
I went with a guy that I did like him. Like I did like him, but we never had anything in common.
I still
we
was curious why you two had dated for as long as you did, but you seemed happy, so I didn't question it.
I let it go on for too long. And for the most part, I guess we were happy. Like he was sweet, he was funny. I mean, he was very funny, always treated me pretty well, you know.
Hmm.
Um, but I just never I never liked him like that. And it took me a while to be like, you know what? It's okay if you don't like him like that. The worst thing you could do is lead him on and then you get married and then divorced within 2 years, you know? Um,
Exactly.
so when college came around, I was like, perfect. This is my opportunity. And I felt bad because he is a nice guy. He's married now. Um, and I'm not going to say too much just in case, but he's married now to somebody I went to college with, which is so weird. Such a small world. Shelby is.
He end up, we leave this out. Who do you end up being with again?
I don't know. I don't remember her name, but she was literally in my education classes with me, and she was not very nice to me because she thought I
Seriously?
was. Yeah, she thought I was a little weird, which I am,
Yeah, I
but
was about to say, like, you kind of are, but it's in a fun, awesome way. So, yeah.
yeah, well, whatever. But I mean, they seem fine. I actually did see him at a mall in Charlotte, at the Concord Mills in Charlotte, if you
Oh,
remember that place.
seriously? Oh, yeah, I
Yes,
remember.
this was in this was like my senior year of college, okay? And he was there with his whatever she was at the time. And and I was like, "Hey David." And the color drained out of his face. He looked like he saw a ghost. And I was just like, I'm literally just saying hi. He like grabbed his fiance's hand and like jetted away. And I was
Dip.
just like, okay. I was not going to try to be weird. I was just going to be like, hey. But I don't think he wanted to explain who I was to his girlfriend, fiance, whatever the
Mm,
hell she was. Because
okay.
with that, it's pretty obvious that he probably still thinks of me as the one that got away. Um,
Because yeah, he did send all of that, so he just didn't
not
want
when he
to.
was
He.
not when he was dating her. Like not when he
Mm,
was dating her. This was like this is when I was dating Bradley, actually. We had just
oh,
started
okay.
dating and I told Bradley about it. I was like, just so you know, my ex
This
texted me and
happened.
was like, I miss you, but I let him read the messages. I was like, I'm not fucking with that.
But on a sad note, my lovely boyfriend and my adorable son are back home, and we have been speaking for like an hour and a half, damn near 2 hours. So I do believe it is time to end this before we talk everybody's ears off.
Right. Well, we'll do this again, and I'm starting my own podcast because I like to talk, as you know,
And
as
I
you
would
have
love to be a
seen.
part of it as well.
Yes, we'll
And I
we'll
would love
schedule
to be.
that. All right. Thank you guys. I will turn it over to Lou for the conclusion.
All right. So
They,
much. Thank you for being a part of my first episode. This was so awesome. Thank you.
thank you. And thanks to everyone out there for tolerating our ADHD brains.
Yes, thank you. Because this was all over the place. So thank
It was, but that's just how we always have been, really. All
you.
right.
All right. I love you,
Peace
sis.
out.
I'll talk to you later.
I
Bye.
love you. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of the first podcast. It was amazing to have you guys here, and it was awesome to have my friend Alex to be a part of it as well. It was really fun and just a really, really enjoyable time. I always miss her and being able to do this podcast with her and potentially have her as a co host for every other episode. That is just something I'm really looking forward to because it is just awesome being around that woman, and hopefully she feels the same about me because I miss her face and I'd love to see it a lot more often. But thank you guys so much once again for being a part of the first episode of Looney Chats with Luuney Lulu. And this is Looney Lulu signing out, and I will see you guys later.